see if we're going to see any changes to the draft here. Rise has been the starting ban by MVP each time, and I wouldn't be shocked to see it. There it is.
Wonder if we'll see a Galio ban from SKT. The Bard has been banned all 3 games, which does seem to cement the want to take a hyper carry like the Kog'Maw. But the Galio MVP have not shown priority on really at any point in their lifetime. And then for SKT, it's been definitely more of a negative than a positive so far this season. They now have Wolfit, so they have more games of experience. Maybe they can be more on point with the use of the abilities if it's left open. So let's see what Koma wants to do. Ban the Galio. So they don't want Galio to be taken. They will not be opting into it. I'm sure some SKT fans will breathe a sigh of relief with that ban. Means more likely to see Faker on a carry. We're still waiting for that Zoe.
So close to it. They're in the last game. Available in game 1, but they went for the Galio, so hopefully we can see it this time around. It's going to be Vladimir as the final ban yet again here from MVP.
Yeah, MVP won a first pick Gangplank. Seems to be willing to give up Sejuani for it. Interesting to see if both those are left open, if they do actually prize Sejuani higher than GP after they've already double coverage banned with the Gnar and the Vladimir. It does heavily suggest a first pick Gangplank. What do SKT make of that? They'll ban the Sejuani. Will be, you'd think, a Gangplank first pick here for MVP.
Could be good for MVP if they take the GP.
If
then
that's
have their pick of the remaining Ezreal or Kalista.
Did like the little mana flash there of the Nasus by ADD. So SK Telecom, I think they probably would have got a free Sejuani, given that we see 2 coverage bans from MVP for the GP, but they chose to ban it away. I think Jarvan is likely here, or maybe the Camille that Blank has been playing a lot of in solo queue. This would be a real flex, because good into Gangplank, and also a possibility in the jungle. Tricky first lock-in for SKT. They'll take the Ezreal as well, and leave MVP wondering where that Camille will go.
And how good is Pilot's Kalista?
Traditionally, he was that caster AD. Ezreal would have been ultra comfort for him, Corki AD carry many metas ago. So, yeah, I mean, Kalista would be the obvious meta pick here. Kog'Maw could be considered as well, but it'd be a lot of scaling. Or at least a lot of lanes that don't provide a lot of early power. So with Kalista and her ability to skirmish early, they do reinforce the bot lane. Pick of supports available, all of them on the board.
Other than Bard?
Tom Kench here, maybe to evacuate out of the Hextech ultimatum.
Tom Kench, Braum would also be fine. Max has shown us his Thresh, which historically is quite good, but so far this season left a lot to be desired.
Because there's so many supports available, they're going to roll the dice and take their jungle in the first round.
You can always go back to Zillion or something.
Oh, baby. You see a tank support? Who knows? Maybe the Brand is going to be broken out. Well, we're waiting for Brand. T-minus 2 weeks into the season. We have not seen a Brand yet.
Yep.
But we're ready. SKT flexing the Camille. Would also cement a support here, and then start banning supports if they so want to. But Wolf has already shown the craziness, and oh,
there
baby!
we go! All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am awake, and I am ready for some of this. Faker finally locks in the Zoe.
It's been so long, because he takes it at that spot, they can double ban it. Oh, as defensive bans for it.
Get that Malzahar out of here.
Get the Malzahar down. They can also choose to ban Azir, but it's Ian's Azir after a bit of an indifferent game too, so perhaps you leave it open. You seem to have hit the table a bit too hard there, Curious.
I fell the other day. I just took it off, but I have actually been wearing a wrist wrap because I fell the other day after the snowfall and caught myself on the sidewalk.
Oh, and now you seem to have re-injured yourself.
So my wrist is a little bit injured, and I slammed my the arm of my chair in excitement, and it hurt.
Well, let's hope that
Faker's
wrists loosened up to get some sick paddle stars on. Would have been inspired by that amazing one shot with the paddle star from Grace earlier this week.
It's all right. Hurt me, Faker.
So Zoe against not Talia to wave clear, not Malzahar to all in, and not Galio to just kind of endure, means that Ian is probably just going to opt into the Azir. Now, maybe this is the time for the Syndra, Gilios. Maybe it's time to return to the Syndra. It's been attempted once against Zoe. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it is comfort for the side of MVP.
I mean, that was what Ian was the most impressive on. So might just have to pull that one out. We've already seen Syndra so far this split.
Yeah, in this matchup against the Zoe. It didn't win, but you understand the thought process behind it.
Definitely would be his most comfortable selection here. Saving it for last, it would seem, as the Alistar gets hovered. Powerful with the Fate's Call.
Low tanking this team, though, only an Alistar, who usually wants to turn around Baron, not tank up Baron. So Baron taking for MVP, barring a big team fight win. Difficult, but strong engage from the Kalista and Alistar if they do take it. Braum banned away, so they didn't have the easy answer against the Ornn. Still waiting for SKT to cement their picks. Ornn could be top or support. Camille is a top or jungle flex, so I love the flex picks from SKT on the red side. They have so many options to answer whatever MVP finally locks in. Will it be that Syndra or will it be the Azir? Feels like those are the two most likely.
Maybe going for the Azir yet again here. Wasn't the most impressive from Ian in game 2, but they're going to lock it in yet again.
We'll need help. We'll need Kha'Zix and Alistar roaming through the lane, but the CC comes in and understand trying to just take out the Zoe in that regard. And then for SKT, support choice here, not that straightforward. Could go for another range support for lane, but instead it's going to be the old Wolf favorite of the Tahm Kench. Tahm Kench against this team doesn't really provide that much. They don't really have single target engage outside the headbutt pulverize, which will be an AoE in most team fights. So bit of a head scratcher, but ultra comfort for Matt Wolf getting back onto the support role, and also some sick plays where they might be able to send the Hextech ultimatum to the backline.
I was really hoping for the Ornn support. Camille jungle and the Tahm Kench in the top lane, just for old time's sakes, but no, not quite going to happen there. But we have been seeing this Tahm Kench paired up with Ezreal's very much so, as we saw it in the first game here of this series. Ezreal Tahm Kench for the side of MVP. Just want to be able to keep him safe, keep him along the outskirts of those fights, get the Devour if he gets jumped on, spit him out, and he's got the Arcane Shift ready to go yet again, so he can stay elusive.
Looking for signs of life from Blank. He's on his solo queue monster champion. He's played so many games of Jungle Camille in the last month and a half, Spirit and Blank. The biggest pioneers on that pick, probably going to go heavy into damage. Blank has been a question mark in both games so far. Very out-jungled by Beyond in game 2 especially. If he's able to turn it on in this game, very strong pick engage. First stun lands onto Ian, then the second one from Faker can also be cemented, and we get Faker Zoe. We've been waiting for it. There's been bans. It's gone unpicked. It's finally there in the LCK.
Competitive debut, so Faker, he wants this to be the start of a new undefeated run with a new champion. Zoe, the first time we're going to see it from him. He's going to try to shut down Ian, shatter his hopes and dreams of closing out this series. Let's see if they can do it as we jump onto the rim for game number 3.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
SKT fans reinvigorated after that victory in game number 2.
LCK debut of Faker on Zoe. Played at an All-Star, but that tournament obviously dubious in the competitive round. Watching here, fans certainly shouting out for SK Telecom T1. The draft here I like from the side of SKT. Long range engage. Exit ultimatum to guarantee it. Abyssal Voyage with the Camille into the backline. Whereas MVP got an Alistar for engage and damage threats, and sort of comp that can snowball or be snowballed upon. So because they don't have a lot of options around Baron, does pigeonhole them into picking and executing fights reliably, and that's already something that MVP has struggled with pretty significantly in Season 2018.
Maybe looking for the pinch here. They see ADD pushing in, sitting on top of the control ward. Once they finish this one off, Faker gets the Sleepy Trouble bubble. Hook shot comes over the wall, but it's not in range for the stun, so well, ADD is just going to go ahead and finish that off. Gets vision. In the meantime, Bang and Wolf invading down here over onto the bottom side, trying to force out that smite. Beyond will have to use it.
Blank does not. So while it takes a bit more extra damage and both the top laners end up reaching lane at the same time, smite advantage does mean that Blank will be able to clear faster. Has used it now just to take the big Raptor, you'd imagine, and then go on from there. Emax into Q is what we usually see on the Camille. You'd be forgiven for thinking there'd be a W for the AoE camps, but it's more about the ganking. 5 points in hookshot first usually is the max skill order as well. Seen it from Trick so far, and Spirit in the LCK. Both of them winning, so that's a good omen.
Blank especially is going to be looking for a bit of a turnaround performance here. First 2 games leaving a bit to be desired. Point blank Sejuani ult in the last one that really helped set SKT ahead, but outside of that, hasn't had, you know, that impactful play that we've
This is not something you usually see very often.
No, it is not. Dallas is going to go ahead and get slowed up. Now he's going to be expecting the Kazakhs flashes away. They're going to jump straight in on top of him. And the rookie of SKT will get taken down for first blood.
I mean, you can understand why he didn't expect a gank in the gangplank lane, but really nice pathing from beyond. He knew that it started red buff on the top side. Wasn't sure if it was smited or not, but knew the eventual path through would be red buff into full clear from the bot side. Abused that pathing. Same information was available to SKT. They knew exactly where the start was from Kazakhs, but went against the playbook, surprised SKT. Nice little snowball from beyond.
Yeah, great adaptation by him. Catches him off guard. That's going to be the swap out. No ignite now for the Ornn. Takes the TP just to get back to lane faster and to make sure that he doesn't fall that much further behind in CS.
As any other top laner, you talk about the fact that he got a suboptimal back, but we all know that Ornn will just pop out and buy his items in lane. So just gets the refillable and also the control ward. Items will come later for the Ornn. Sacks of gold. Flash down on Gangplank. So we'll see if Blank can turn this around and potentially go for a gank of his own on the top side. But for now, big advantage MVP.
Probably going to be necessary, though the stun not going to be the most effective. He does have the orange there to get him out of it. This Faker starts sieging away. Nearly enough damage to go ahead and clear out that back wave.
Sorcery Tree second from 3 members of SKT. So we might be seeing a couple of Gathering Storms. Maybe one for Faker is the most likely. Only Sorcery on MVP is the primary on Ian. Has gone into the Comet, pretty common on Azir for lane control. Lethal tempo. So once again, no sign of the unsealed spellbook Kalista. Both supports riding that particular mastery. Rune, I should say.
Another Infernal Drake start. See, one Blank feels comfortable enough to perhaps go for that or beyond. On the other side of things. But pulverize in onto Wolf. We'll take a couple javelins and a rend.
Nice little clearing from Blank. Control ward was put down by Beyond on the bot side. Spotted out but not cleared by Blank. Had advanced vision there, so a bit surprising he didn't clear that one out. Chooses to back away. Can confirm he is going Emax first. See what Beyond's next move is. Top lane pushed in. Mid lane, Azir will be able to push in Zoe early before the Paddle Star has both threat and wave clear next to its name. Good control on the bot side as well. So a lot for Beyond to work around. And already a nice start for him with first blood.
Beyond scouting forward. Pops the plant, jumps over. We'll find the Krugs there.
Very slow camp for Camille to clear, so always going to be one that's going to keep up most of the time. Level 5 now onto Beyond.
Notice that he hasn't been spotted yet. Control ward sitting in the tri-brush. That'd be enough reaction time for Tall, however. Does not have the flash available.
Will very soon because of Unsealed Spellbooks. If the time is right, they'll know it's about 10 seconds out or less. It kind of has to be now.
Oh, he's just going to charge back in, so we'll be okay. As Blank is in the vicinity, sees that Krugs have been cleared.
Flash back up for Tal. So that worrying moment of the game for SKT fans has been subverted. Otherwise, relatively even across the map. Only true lead is for the Gangplank, who are piling on gold with Kleptomancy and also the assist. Make this comp work from MVP. Need to be able to really initiate aggressively, and they need the Gangplank to be massive, to be a side lane threat. Ornn is not going to realistically be able to take him down on the 1v1, so free farm is basically guaranteed, and Ornn probably just will go into Frozen Heart to have someone on the team who's able to pick that up. It's going to be probably the Warrior Enchant into Trinity Force onto the Camille, much more aggressive build. But cementing vision control, taking objectives, and forcing SKT to fight. Siege and SKT wins hands down. Zoe and Ezreal, Siege guards, and they also have engage and disengage from both the Ornn and the Tahm Kench. But forcing them to come to a fight. It's kind of the best that MVP can hope for.
Well, for now, no real action going to be coming through. Just that first blood that we saw. And on to Tal. Otherwise, it's the same old 8.1 nice farm fest that we have going on. Though Beyond actually finds Blank, chunks him down to about half HP. Trouble Bubble not going to connect, and Blank, he's going to go low. Drops the ultimatum, however. But Faker's not landing the paddle stars to chunk out the Kazakhs.
It landed onto Ian that time, who caught it. Beyond unable to get the kill, but does force the Hextech ultimatum out defensively, which is pretty big for them. Want to take blue buff as well. Can be smited away here. Yep. Beyond will claim it. So still a successful invade coming through from Beyond.
Faker showing some shakiness so far on the Zoe. Not landing these skill shots where he needs to be the most accurate.
Yeah, the Azir did the big assist there. By the time the paddle star was sent out, there wasn't going to be kill range realistically, and Blank was only exiting, so in future times we'll definitely keep a close watch on those paddle stars as Beyond trying to take advantage of this situation by soloing down the Infernal. Came from behind, so it's not spotted out by the Scuttle Vision.
So seems like that's just going to be another Infernal Drake going over to MVP. Didn't help them out much in Game 2, but Game 1, you'll remember, it helped them out quite a bit.
Yeah,
so, an ill omen, perhaps, for SK Telecom.
Yeah, the ward was down from MVP, so even though the Scuttle was to the side of MVP, the Scuttle ward would have most reliably found out basically every path to the Drake rather than jumping in, but his flash was up, so ended up being easy, and even before Warrior and Champ picked someone up. Same time, Blank looking to steal away the blue buff. Will be able to pass it to Zoe this time, because he knows that Kazakh's likely to be on the bottom side. Not going to turn it into a turret dive, but at least blue buff advantage for Fake.
Picks that one up. Back coming through there from Tal. Does have the Sheen. So going to be looking for that Iceborne Gauntlet, it would seem. Not going to go for the Frozen Heart.
Yeah, a bit more battle stats. First Iceborne Gauntlet we've seen on an Orange since, I believe, first week of the season, as everyone else has been preferring the Frozen Heart for team fights. Very nice Q there from Pilot to get the harass onto Bang.
Yeah, he's been doing this rather well. I mean, not denying the CS away from the Ezreal, but consistently keeping him lower in HP. So good pressure here from Pilot.
Making him accountable.
Yeah.
If you're able to push in, then suddenly Abyssal Voyage, and every time Beyond tries to invade on Kazakhs, first rotation from the Tahm Kench. Under turret, much less likely for that to happen.
And Bang's not up much as far as the gold is concerned, and with the CS being even, you have to expect that that's, you know, a result of Max and Pilot not really getting hit by the Kleptomancy initiations there from Bang, so he isn't getting those that gold stolen away. Like, stolen away, but, you know, take it out of their pocket.
Absolutely. And Kliss is one of the few champions who can actually match an Ezreal at 2 items. It's 2-item Ezreal with Gauntlet or Triforce and the Mana Moon. Very, very powerful, but 2-item Kalista is the same story. So if you want to keep farm parity and stand up to an Ezreal, Kalista just has a straight up Blade of the Ruin King, so that's a big purchase coming through. Very extended laning phase allowed Beyond to invade, so Kalista not shopping earlier and having lane presence allowed the invasions. It didn't actually lead to further kills. Just, yep, first paddle star.
Those are the hits. We've been expecting from Faker this entire time. Just get that paddle star connection in onto Ian, looking for something else, or at least trying to fake him out. As Blank arrives, as does Wolf. Beyond going over the wall. Blank's going to go low. Pops the ultimatum. And is going golden now. Max coming in, gets the pop-up with the hit there, the pulverize, and that is going to be Blank going down as Ian claims the kill. He's golden, flashes himself away. Call the forge shot comes through, gets a double pop-up. Faker sieging out with the paddle stars, trying to get these hits in onto ADD, but just can't get it. Can't get them low enough. Goes in, gets another one, but it's not enough to trade back. The flash forward looks for the sleepy trouble bubble. Cannot get it.
There was a freebie flash there. It's bot lane.
Yeah, that's going to be Bang getting jumped on. Use the arcane shift. Has to go ahead. Flash over the wall. One more hit would finish him off. Jumps over with the blast cone, and Wolf is there for the Devour just in case. But MVP suddenly feeling aggressive, firing on all cylinders across the map.
They do use more summoners. 3 flashes down. It's going to be something that SKT in great form can revisit. So we'll see if they can profit from how much MVP had to use. Beyond went straight in with the leap. Had to kind of go straight out because it was right in the firing line. The members of SKT responding. That was a great prediction onto Beyond.
Yeah, very nicely done there by Faker, who's starting to come online here with the Zoe. He's got another free flash ready to go, so is feeling safe to go aggressive. Hits the Scuttle Crab.
Oh, that Scuttle Crab's a bro, that's for sure.
Yeah, saving Beyond some trouble there, keeping his HP topped up. Blank now in the vicinity yet again, but does not have the ultimatum, doesn't really have any vision control over the river, and he's just going to get left on yet again. Hookshot comes out. Blank doesn't go in for the stun. Tactical sweep will slow him up, but Blank massively misplayed that, and now he goes down solo kill over to Beyond.
He had so many options. Even the blasting plant was there. Another poor moment from Blank. Makes you wonder who SKT's final starting jungler will be this season, as Blank, unfortunately, isn't living up to the billing.
I mean, you see moments like this, and with Wolf, helping control the bottom lane, putting him into the jungle might not make the most sense given that effort has continuously been caught out. It might be a time to go ahead and give the rookie a chance.
Or to say, really work on him for the second round robin. Maybe you need that extra lead in time.
Or bring back Banky.
It's a real possibility. I don't say it from a facetious point. He was playing professionally as recently as spring season of last year.
Yeah.
Wasn't a great time on Vici Gaming, but that team was struggling at the time.
Language barriers, etc.
Etc. Even as a stopgap to make it to the end of the season or the end of the year and find a different option be something that I imagine they will consider, but I have no insight into the situation.
By the way, rough stuff, SKT. Not completely defeated yet, as Faker gets another Paddle Star hit onto Ian.
He knows the AoE of the ability so well. Anyone watching his stream knows how much Zoe he plays. Basically, whenever it's open, he's been picking it up.
Barely misses clipping that trouble bubble onto Ian, which almost certainly would have led to a death. Now though, Bang going aggressive here onto Max, who misses the pulverize, but has the headbutt to take himself back in underneath the turret.
Yeah, didn't have Callista to ult him away, so just was doing his best to not die in that scenario. Doesn't want to use his flash. Didn't have it, actually, to speak for all of that. So comes back in. Double Relic Shield will mean he'll be healthy before too long as the next Paddle Star.
Yep, looking for it. Uses the portal jump, but can't quite get the connection here. As Faker is going to go ahead and flash away. That was the actual flash, not a free one. He tries to get another hit with Paddle Stars, but turns out hitting the Azir can be a bit difficult, but Ultimatum's going to come through here. Onto Beyond. Faker jumping in. Trouble Bubble not going to connect, and now Blank in a bad spot. It's just going to get taken down. Baits himself into a death.
Yeah, situational awareness gone there. Gangplank ultimate to guarantee it. So you look a bit stupefied by some of these decisions by Blank, and I can understand that. Just not judging his own strength. And this is a champion he has prepared for a long time in solo queue. A lot of games on it. And it's the tune of a second Infernal Drake to the side of MVP.
I mean, if it was somebody other than a Zoe, then perhaps you go for something like that. But so skill shot reliant, the follow-up isn't going to be immediate, so he takes so much damage from the isolation. And if Faker misses the trouble bubble, which he did, then he just dies.
Also, this Kha'Zix is definitely not
He's
lacking in
3-1-1.
farm. Exactly, he was 2-1-1 at the start of that. He's got items. He's not just a warrior enchant and some Moby boots.
And now 2 Infernal Drakes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's a heavy price to pay for a second mistake from Blank. No other word. You can't paper over this. You also have a very expensive build. He might be forced to go into Asterix Cage as a first real item just because Trinity Force is looking like just, further diminishing his presence till much later in the game. So big head scratchers there from the side of Blank in particular. Only level 8, so he's been thoroughly out-jungled by Beyond this series in every game.
I mean, right now, Blank is widely losing them this match.
He's not helping them, that's for sure. Bit of an undercover agent in this game.
Yeah. How much is MVP paying him?
They don't have that much money, so probably
They're paying him in hot sticks.
one of their main sponsors. We joke, but not a good look for SKT, with Blank struggling this much and them only having Blossom on the roster. True rookie who looks more and more likely to play with every mistake from Blank. And then, if not him, then Wolf in the jungle means that effort has to come back in, and they very clearly, what we have learned, I would say definitively from this series, they need Wolf on the team. They need him in the booth, him in the back talking to effort, trying to give him tips is not working. So, got to find a way to get him into the team, and starting to get creative already very early in the season, as we know.
Oh, that won't headbutt Pulverizer on the bang, but he buffers it with the Arcane Shift. It's a bit of damage traded back there on the Max. Good accuracy with those Mystic shots. Rift Herald has been started, but seems like it's going to be abandoned.
Beyond hasn't died to all this pressure. He stayed pretty similar in CS, and he's got them 2 Infernal Drakes to trade upon as well. So late game Azir probably going to be mid game Azir in this particular game. All this time, Gangplank is obviously having a lovely time, and Blank is not going to have first rotation, but Beyond showing restraint.
I mean, that's good for Blank, because honestly, if Beyond didn't show restraint, it probably would have just been the Camille dying yet again. So use the Scrying Plant. We'll go ahead and spot them out. Rift Herald still under fire. Blank seeming like he wants to go for the steal. And
Max has teleport here, so we could see some support
all
teleport.
the Forge God going to come through. Not even a smite. It's actually just going to be the GP picking it up.
Alistair coming in as well.
Beyond is rather low. Blank goes over the wall there with the hook shot. Tom Kench coming through with the Abyssal Voyage with Bang in tow, but that's about it. No further action going to be found, and Pilot gets some alone time to push in that wave down bot.
They were able to pick up the Rift Herald as well to confirm, so not going to be any hijinks around picking it up after the attempt at a fight. Teleport invested by Max, only True Summoner is taken there, and like you say, Pilot gets the back timing he will want.
Let's force that wave into the turret. Bang will go ahead and pick up the majority of those. He'll maintain his CS lead, but not by a significant margin.
This game is still one that is very difficult for MVP to close. We said it many times now, they only have damage. That's why it's such a good news story that they have 2 Infernal Drakes to make only damage, a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Lane's also in a good spot. They have the early kill, so the damage can outpace the tankiness, which during League of Legends history, tankiness has usually outpaced damage. Then there could be good news stories for MVP. Vision control also to guarantee they're making the right choices to fight. It's going to be something to track, and Blank is very, very squishy. Going for the Trinity Force second and starting with the Stinger for a bit of cooldown reduction to use the ultimatum, probably die, but maybe get a kill for it.
I mean, yeah, if he could trade his life for something, that would be a positive for SK Telecom.
Teleport by Wolf just to try to slow this down, so no turret take here.
Yep. We'll go ahead and deny that.
A lot of big purchases soon to come for MVP. Beyond been sitting on gold for a long time. The second item, Fiendish Codex here for Ian. I wonder if it's going to be 40% CDR, as maybe the Blank dies again.
Oh yeah, Ultimatum coming through. Faker going to be looking to line it up.
Nice
Lands the
prediction.
Paddle Star. Beautiful prediction there by Faker. Blank will walk away with the kill, but comes off the back of Faker's excellent accuracy.
They had a control ward to at least have a little bit of information, as Max will have to be used. Fate's Call defensively, and Blank's here. This is a nice pathing from Blank.
Around the back, yeah, don't have the ultimatum here. Faker is just TPing through. We'll just eat up all of the damage from the Azir. Doesn't care. And Burst of Mind comes through. Ian is going low. Cannonball barrage there. The minions! The minions! Can they win it? They do! The barrage still kills off Faker. Oh, but the 200 elo stopwatch to have the minions embarrassingly murder Ian was also worth it.
What is going on with Faker and watching other lanes?
I don't know.
I don't believe that was a bait. We've seen it too many times this season.
I think he just didn't care about the damage, knew that the Azir wouldn't kill him, and then decided to cancel it because he saw them exiting.
But then what would you say about the redemption and what happened in game 1 and everything else that's happened so far?
All right, you got me there.
He may be the best player of all time, but needs to watch the screen a bit closer, I think, this season.
Oh, this is wacky.
He's finding new and impressive ways to get caught napping, as he thought he was going in and then just took an assload of damage to start.
Seeing the start of this, he definitely was just not paying attention.
The cannon minion here, the true MVP.
I mean, Ian did his damnedest. He had the nice flash to the side to dodge it all. But he didn't calculate in the minions.
You wouldn't have thought a mid lane Fiesta was on the cards in Ian versus Faker, but the minions and the cannon barrage, the true MVP there.
Amazing.
And results game, pretty even. Especially with what we're saying about...
And nobody has much of a lead.
Nope. Nice items for MVP just completed. Sterix Gauge BF, so it's a big purchase on the Gangplank. Duskblade for the Kha'Zix. Trinity Force still slowly being inched together, about 1,000 gold at this point, probably short, is blank.
Banshees and Nashers there for Ian as well. So consistent damage with the protectiveness of the Banshees Veil, so he can try to not get clipped by those pesky trouble bubbles.
Mid lane turret is down as well for the Zoe that we didn't get to mention. I wonder if QSS slows down the build here from Beyond.
Well, they definitely saw that, but Blank this time deciding intelligently to not go for the fight there against Beyond.
They're rolling high on these Drakes. Double Infernal, double Mountain this game. It is really, really happy time.
Yeah,
So
we're starting to stretch it now. Getting these turrets is what's really going to expound on this advantage here for MVP. That's going to be Ultimatum coming through, but the Emperor's Divide just shoves him right over the wall. Blink goes low yet again. Wolf has to save him with a Devour, but even that might not be enough. Fate's Call tosses Max forward, headbutts in Wolf. He'll pop the shield to try to stay alive. As Tall is there to try to back him up, but too many Ren stacks equals a dead Catfish, and he will go down. Beautiful hit from Faker, but just not enough AP to finish off Max. He will be able to walk away with his life.
and some body blocking in the bot lane also stopped any other kills from coming through, so a lot had to happen for MVP to exit that 1-for-1. Gangplank coming in to get the last kill onto Wolf. Push in the mid lane. With these Infernals, the damage will start to stick. The items are coming there. Like you say, the gold actually makes the Infernals more relevant because the BF swords and the other big item completions are coming in. Combat-wise, MVP are probably stronger than they imagined they would be at 23 minutes. They can get those wards down, the control wards we always talk about. A Baron turn can be such a quick ace of SKT with all the damage, but getting the wards down, harder to do when it's only Alistair to face check.
Things going to slow down a little bit here as so we see Ian and Blank or Ian and Beyond invading over onto this red buff. Wolf going to get jumped on. As that blast cone takes himself out to safety, and Bang will be able to safely retrieve said red buff.
Tall in base, going for his next purchase. Basically the solo queue special in the Iceborne Gauntlet and the Abyssal Mask. MVP pushing in top side. Kha'Zix wasn't able to completely clear vision around the Tribush, which means that it's going to delay the time it takes for the last outer turret to go down for SKT. Note they have 0 turrets in the game again.
Solid Baron control here from MVP. They do have very good secure and a very fast take.
Beyond is going for the just outplay them build, no QSS.
Oh, Wolf does have his flash available. Gonna get headbutted away.
Oh.
Nicely timed flash for Wolf. Does take himself out to safety there. Bang just gonna trade back a little bit of damage onto the Alistair.
I'd see Max still stay around that Tribush and actually finally get this top lane turret. They've been spending so much time, but teleport's going to be used to reinforce them. The chunk out onto Wolf doesn't matter because he can TP back in. Thank you, Unsealed Spellbook. That frustrates MVP, and in the previous game, remember, they had a 2 turrets down very early, but could never use their pressure or items to accelerate the game. There's a danger here for MVP that happens again.
Clear out the control wards there. So MVP losing a bit of their control over the Baron area. As Wolf is yet again playing with fire, as is Blank. Tongue Lash connecting in onto Max, but the Fate's Call is there. Takes him out to safety.
No Gangplank ultimate available right now to look for any sort of a turn.
Oh, well, that's just going to be the Banshee's Veil pop. Ian's saying, thank God I purchased that.
Has control wards in the river, so he has the ability to walk aside and not just die. Speaking of just dying.
And again, looking for Wolf. Headbutt Pulverize comes through. He's going to pop the shield. So many Ren stacks into him. Might just kill him right from here, and there you go. That's going to be the kill going over to Pilot. Bang as well, getting chunked out, and Blank having to have some concern. Have to go ahead and peel back and likely surrender that top tier 1 turret.
And we begin that vision that they crave around the Baron. So much Baron damage and secure. Insanely fast damage. Baron damage for MVP and secure.
Oh, there you go, Faker. He lands the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, but Max is there to body block. And the minions are there as well, so Faker not going to be able to get the finish there onto Pilot, but it was damn close.
It's been a team effort to stop Faker hitting 4 or 5 kills early into this game. He's using the SKT T1 Bang skin on the Callista as well. Bit of insult, bit of salt on the wound. Faker so close to popping off in this game with enough time. Paddle stars, the reliability of his skill shot, something he's always been famed for. Seeming inevitability, but right now MVP are powerful. Seeing Kha'Zix push up, working his way towards a Youmuu's. No QSS on Beyond. He's going to try and outplay the Trouble Bubble and try to burst someone down.
Heading down here into the mid lane. Still a ways to go on to that next dragon.
Trying to pop the Banshee
10
Veil, but not
seconds.
able to do there. Ian keeps that one up.
Can't quite get that Paddle Star. Try to siege up. SKT still lacking any turret take in this game whatsoever. Ian will save the Banshee's Veil as he just goes ahead and dashes to the side. That was a bit odd from Tal.
Yeah, a bit
very fast cooldown, so.
Yeah, a bit lackluster on the ult, but like you say, it's 50% off before we can even talk about it.
Yep.
It's basically a discount at all points.
It's ready to go.
They're just looking for Faker here.
Well, Trouble Bubble comes through. Max. It's locked up, barely so. Battlestar's not going to connect, so Pilot feeling safe to go ahead and push forward. Now has the Guardian Angel here to keep himself in the fight.
SKT have kept this top lane outer turret up for comically long at this point, 5 to 6 minutes more than you would expect. Only now is Gangplank actually pushing into the bot lane. Azir puts up the Azir turret. This is where the next minion wave should make it free, but MVP's lack of problem solving in these areas hurt them in game 2. Kind of rearing their ugly head again in game 3.
I mean, but this is the problem, is that SKT basically have to put their energy into protecting that turret rather than taking any for themselves. Trying to deny the 3-0 rather than make it a 1-2. Another Trouble Bubble there onto the Alistar. Gets the connection, and Max gets chunked out now. Blank coming around from the side. Do they want to take the fight? Fate's call. We'll go ahead and deny it, but they could toss him back in if they so wanted. They do not. Ultimatum instead going to come through. Locks down Pilot. Pulverize comes down. Devour there. They're trying to keep Blank alive. He has to exit on the backside. Faker also down to half HP, trying to hit that Paddle Star onto Pilot, but he's just too elusive with the side hops. And in the meantime, during all of this action, MVP have picked up their 4th dragon, their 2nd mountain.
Yeah, there won't be another one spawning, but man, is that an Elder that you dream of at the start of a game. Drake control has meant a lot for the side of MVP, a secondary win condition if there ever was one. I really feel bad piling on to Blank, but he did ult in as the headbutt was available from Alistar, and he just interrupts the ability if he so chooses, used it to re-engage. No value once again from the Hextech ultimatum, and this is a very, very squishy Camille coming through with just the Infinity.
He just keeps going for these really awkward engages. Like you say, Triforce, that's it. That's the only thing he has, and then a Ruby Crystal. So no mitigation really. As they try to get the engagement here onto the GP, we'll be able to lock him up. Stopwatch is there, and yeah, ADD, there's nowhere to go. And Blank. To my own frustration, Blank is the one who is taking the kills.
Now this will severely slow down MVP's Baron setup. You'll notice that SKT will clear vision around here. They probably won't start it, even with 40 seconds, until he respawns.
Cleanses, gets rid of the Banshee's Veil at least there, and it's Faker.
This should be the first turret of the game for SKT. They start to walk up. We'll see if MVP want to mount a contest. They do. Look at where Alistar is.
Oh yeah, Faker already getting chunked out quite a bit there. Max goes in, gets a Pulverize in onto Blank yet again, who goes low and has to be saved with a Devour. Bang, however, going forward, trying to chunk down Beyond. They'll just be firing off these Mystic shots one after the other. True Shot Barrage and barely missed.
Even hitting the minion would have been the AoE to take down Max, but he does live. Heal forced out of Pilot. Took a while. First turret of the game, second one I should say, to SK Telecom T1.
Yep. Bot lane going down before that. Faker jumping forward, gets a massive chunk onto Pilot, almost pops the Guardian Angel, but has to back off as he is also dangerously low. But you can see this guy with this Zoe so elusive, willing to play with fire.
That's why when you were talking about the fact that SKT weren't actually turning good moments into anything more than vision denial.
Here we go again.
He's dead. I'm not even going to talk about that, but
I think I figured it out.
The vision denial for SKT is so important because the only way MVP wins is getting the Baron and then just trying to throw the Alistar in and end the game. They've got great damage. Fighting around Baron is really only where MVP can be strong, apart from just getting a free pick.
Oh, Max going to get slept here.
He's probably dead. Oh,
all right. Coming through, not going to get the connection.
What does it mean? It's going to be a
Forge
defensive.
Gone. Going to get tossed in, and it gets outranged. But now Baron going to be started up here. Faker tries to go ahead and just siege people down. He gets a massive pop there onto ADD. Baron going low, but it's going to be the smite taken away by Beyond. Gets the Baron here for MVP, but 2 will go down, as you say. Call trying to get the charge forward, can't get the connection. It's going to be a double kill going over to Bang for now, but now Faker and Wolf joining in with the Abyssal Voyage. Trying to get the hits there. The Paddle Star can't quite find it, so 3 members of MVP will still escape with the Baron buff under their belt.
Yeah, with Kalista and also being MVP, it made a lot of sense there. It wasn't a 50-50. Blank was dead. That's the cost here. We're going to watch the replay. People were going to die. Max was there on 1,000 health. He was definitely going to die at some point.
I mean, the Baron dies, and then the Paddle Star goes straight in onto onto Beyond, so.
He did his job.
Yeah, lucky, I guess. I'm not sure how you want to calculate that one, but either way, they get the Baron, and 3 members walk away with it.
Very high value Baron for MVP. They can push in. Zoe's threat doesn't even push through a single melee minion when it does have the Baron buff. That goes severely down. Only Call of the Forge God as ranged initiation means that this is a great time for MVP to finally push up. Banshee Veil is down. See how many lanes MVP want to play now that they have Infinity Edge, Essence Reaver onto the Gangplank, who's doing sick damage.
Yeah, you can see Tal there getting chunked out. Couple bubble, almost finding Pilot, but slightly out of range somehow.
2 lanes is probably what they want to do here, 4-1, just because they can threaten an all-in with Alistar, and it's the sheer damage they have. Insanely high damage team from MVP. So they're going to play 2 lanes and give up on top lane. Faker just trying to DPS down anyone he can, but Minion Wave is pushed out. So for now, Gangplank is actually just going to pull it up, and they're going to play 1 lane.
Yeah, it's going to be looking to chunk this one down. Faker trying to dissuade wherever he can. Paddle Stars gets the pop there onto the Banshee's Veil again, and he just gets lit up.
Next Minion Wave is the go button for MVP. Minute 30 on the Baron. Needs to be this one. Faker will recall. They will lose at minimum their inner turret. That's just going to be a freebie. That's what you get. 1 crit barrel. Goodbye to inner turret for SK Telecom T1. 1 turret's certainly not enough to justify the 2 deaths that went down next to the Baron.
Still have a minute and 20 seconds here as they turn in onto the second one. Shot Barrage comes through. Weakens the wave a little bit here. The Trouble Bubble not going to find the connection. Max goes in, gets the Pulverize as they look for Wolf. Look at chunked out. The turret falls. Fate's Call gets him out to safety. So Max not going to be going down.
Fate's Call should almost always represent a turret going down. Max is going to be there once again. Gotta say, the power of friendship when it comes to Paddle Star interruptions has worked for MVP. Elder spawns in 10 seconds, and MVP will be very out of position for it. They do get Scuttle Crab, but no more. Gangplank shows himself topside, doesn't have Cannon Barrage, does have Teleport.
I mean, you have to expect SKT to just perhaps try to rush this down.
Pilot's gone for a interesting item there. Actually, he's gone for Face of the Mountains, so taking inspiration from Kramer.
He's building all the way up for it.
Does mean that Shields will be in position. Bizarre. I guess he just wanted to spend all of his gold.
Good seam it. Well, here we go.
There's something in vision.
There's a ward there, Ian. They work this one low. He's like, oh, there it is. And
we might
Blank
see Beyond Flash into
might just
this,
say thank you. He's going to have to get in there. Goes low, and no, it's going to be taken by Blank. The biggest win condition for MVP. Now taken away by SK Telecom. Still down by just shy of 6,000 gold, but that was the golden ticket to their first match victory here for MVP.
I guess we shouldn't be surprised that in a zombie war, they tried to take Elder Dragon over a wall. MVP-esque play around an objective, sadly.
Now I'm confused as to who's throwing for which team. Is it Ian for SKT or is it Blank for MVP?
I mean, if you just think about that kind of in an equal framework, it lets you know the level of this game. Like, this series has not been the best team in the world versus the worst. It's been comparable teams. This has been 9th versus 10th, which that was the last thing anyone thought it would be. Unfortunately, SKT have looked rough, specifically around jungle. They have a problem they have not been able to correct in this series. If anything, it's more severe. I like the balance comp they have if they're able to actually force a fight, you know, with a Trouble Bubble initiation, with something in a long lane. Only around Baron and Elder, MVP have options. They mismanage the Elder. That puts us in an interesting spot here. AD way out of position. Eddie, screws that up.
Yeah, he's going to eat that. It's going to be the ultimatum coming down. But ADD's still going to be all right. Gets another Trouble Bubble for his troubles. All the Forge God comes through. ADD still getting jumped on, but Max goes back in. It's the Pulverize and will dissuade any further aggression here from the members of SKT.
Elder is only the true damage for SKT. No buffs, but the denial, also a big story. Baron spawns in a minute 50, so that'll be a minute after the Elder Dragon despawns from SKT. 6,000 gold lead, but the Infernals helping up the GP, and the 4 carries on the side of MVP means that it needs to start with a trouble bubble. It needs to start with a pick to answer all the sheer damage on the side of MVP. Faker's had a great game on the Zoe, but could never get into the other gear. You think of the previous game where things were slow on Kassadin, but then suddenly we were looking down and 10 Dark Seal stacks and in a great spot to actually carry. Forced to play side lanes as well, with coverage there coming through from the Camille. Baron start into Baron turn. Threat range is pretty limited because you need Alistar to be tanking the Baron, and then he is the one to turn as well with the Fate's Call. There's a pretty big safe zone for SKT against this MVP turn.
Oh.
Not a lot of safe zone against Paddlestar.
Nope. Even there for Max. Still gets chunked out. Ian's still doing his damnedest to dodge those with the Banshee's Veil on him. Doesn't want to lose that shield.
So we wait with bated breath to see where you'd think the game-winning turn is kind of around the corner. Feels like this Baron will close out the game.
Something's got to give.
For MVP, or will be the first really big plus point for SKT to cement what is just the most insane poke comp if they can get Baron. Baron swings this game very severely one way or the other. There's a voyage just to get Bang & Wolf for wave clear duty in the mid lane.
Oh, there's another one. Max range, so Max not going to take a ton of damage. Faker fortunately does juke out away from the barrels. But Baron has spawned. MVP getting grouped up into the pit. Trouble connects there onto ADD, but he'll be fine. Takes the orange. Oh, the Forge God finds 2. Nice damage off that True Shot Barrage Beyond, down to about half HP, and MVP's going to have to surrender this Baron potentially to SK Telecom.
Yeah, Max is completely out of the fight. There was no need for them to leash. Seeing Blank, consider his options. That was a big trouble bubble, couldn't finish the game. Max isn't in vision, but
trying to recall. Will they check it? Seems like he might be able to make it out of here with his life.
He can teleport back in, remember. He has the ability to swap to the TP.
And so far, SKT have not started up the Baron. He does swap over to the teleport, and seems like he's going to go ahead and cast it coming into the mid lane. ADD getting jumped on, gets the stun from the hook shot. Ultimatum drags Blank forward, and he might have to get out of there with his life. Devour yet again saves his life. Bang firing away. One more shot would take him down. ADD, he takes the hit to the face, but now it's going to be the orange, keeps him alive. And meanwhile, on the backside of the fight, Faker gets jumped on, goes over the wall, but has to come straight back in, and Ian finds the kill. SKT, everybody else peeling back. Faker has been eliminated, and they are going to be looking for this Baron yet again as they clear through the vision.
So many resources used to dive the tanky gangplank that on the backside Faker was assassinated himself. They're on the Baron here.
Max is going low. They have the Ren stacks to try to go ahead and pick this one up. They will be able to get it. Another huge Baron for MVP if they can use it to knock down these inhibitor turrets. SKT so close to taking that one away, but the catch onto Faker just undoes everything.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch the replay because I must admit my eyes were drawn to AD's grasp on life.
Yeah.
Fell so low, took focus fight and a Hextech ultimatum. He thought, all right, he's going to be finished off. They can't get onto AD. Beyond's working, but now let's watch Faker. Max coming in with the Righteous Glory means that Faker falls low very early.
Portal jumps over, Portal jumps back.
Yep,
There you
and
have
Pilot's there as well. So all the threats were able to actually fight on the right side, and Gangplank doesn't die. That was the ticket to victory. GP played with fire and then some, bought enough time, and Baron buff to MVP.
He thought he was playing Kassadin again like he did in Game 2, so, thought he could jump over the wall and he wouldn't be swinging his way back in instantly.
Agendas, it's a word we talk about though, Achilles. Everyone has an agenda when they play League of Legends, whether it's solo queue or competitive play. Everyone has a role that Homer and the rest of the team assigns to them. Sometimes they go amiss when suddenly Gangplank has no health and everyone's like, we got to finish this, we can get Baron from this and win the game with Zoe and Ezreal. And in all of that pandemonium, Zoe is caught out and the Baron buff goes to MVP. So a lot happens in these fights. Very difficult to throw out fingers without full comps. Nice little chunk, but Max getting tankier. Still going to be slow and steady to push these objectives.
Faker yet again getting ripped apart, has to go ahead and kite his way back. Just no, sustainability here with the Zoe. No way for him to survive this poke. So it's just constantly just go throw some spells, get chunked out, go back to the fountain, come back, throw more spells, get chunked out.
Someone needs to
unless
confirm.
he gets the pops, then
Someone needs to confirm the interaction, but I see that we have double upgraded lockets. I'm under the impression that if you have an Orin locket and a regular locket, it does truly double stack.
I think they do.
So both of them upgrading means it doesn't stack, which is definitely a negative interaction for the side of SKT.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think that's just a mistake when it comes to the Orin item being picked up.
Sell it and buy it again.
I mean, buy it for the shield. The extra stats are nice, but look at that damage onto Faker.
Few hits from Ian. And Faker just, again, has to go back. Just hasn't gotten into a position to use this exhaust, which he has to stop from taking that much damage.
That means first inhibitor of the game comes to MVP. This damage is insane. They can fall back at any point. Elder Dragon is going to be some sort of story.
That's the burst there from the cannons, from the barrels, rather, of ADD.
So close, our MVP. Close to a game win over KSP, but close to a set win over SK Telecom T1. They had never won a game before, or not used, maybe just for zoning.
Fall of Forge God not going to find anybody. The accuracy on these from Tal has not been the best.
2 minutes on the Elder, which is another must-contest buff for the side of SKT. Spirit Visage onto ADD means he can tank one Paddle Star.
Still pushing forward. 5 more seconds remaining. These empowered minions would love to get ADD into that melee range so they can chunk down the turret, but it seems like they won't even need him once Azir gets some time.
Going on number 2.
Down. Yep. Comes through, gets a double pop-up. It's going to be on the max and beyond, however. Trouble bubble there for ADD, but I mean, even the oranges are just healing him up so significantly.
If MVP want to reset, shop, and get in position for the Elder, they made a big mistake around the previous Elder, ended up just be a freebie for SKT to take down. Elder is just so tremendously strong on specifically Azir with his range. He will be doing ungodly damage with the Sand Soldiers. ADD is going to pick up Rift Scuttler, back off. All the purchases are done, and the item build's largely done here for the side of MVP. Beyond halted his build, no QSS, but more Malmortius before he finished the Yoma's Ghostblade. A lot of attack damage, Guardian Angel coming soon, and ADD, he's decked out.
Yeah. I mean, this has to be the fight here for SK Telecom. If they don't close this out, if they don't get an ace after the Elder Dragon, if they don't take the buff themselves, then they could basically kiss this series goodbye.
Beyond doesn't spot the wards. That's really important. That vision did stick. Seeing MVP roam topside anyway, trying to catch Bang. The team may be expecting they're on bottom side.
They should be learning from their past mistake and check them
Bang.
back at the pit, but Bang's gonna get knocked up. Emperor's Divine comes through, and he is absolutely out of there. Home run hit, ADD takes him down.
That was next level from MVP with 15 seconds left on the Elder. Bang had no expectation that the whole team would run up to red buff and kill him. Really smart from MVP. The evil genius stuff that they were doing in spring season last year when they finished 5th. Now they go down to Elder. There's not going to be an Ezreal. They clear the ward as well. That was really intelligent by MVP. I cannot undersell how unlikely it was, Achilles, that they would be there to kill the Ezreal.
Well, here we go. Elder Dragon acquired this time for MVP. 2.5 minutes on the clock. 4 Dragon stacks. 2 of those being Infernal. They are absolutely monstrous.
24% extra AD to the Gangplank, AP for the Azir, and also 30% extra damage to targets. Basically 3 Infernals and 3 Mountains. And how about some true damage as well? This is the part where it doesn't matter how many tanks you have, you just throw your damage at them and they die. I need a mistake for MVP just to extend this game for SKT.
We've seen Faker getting chunked out already.
The Cannon Barrage also applies the true damage. It does crazy damage.
Faker jumps forward, already knocked down to half HP, as is Blank. Well, the Forge God will get flashed away there by Beyond, keeping himself alive and in the fight. Fate's called, throws in Max. As Pilot gets slept up, but he's got the QSS to go ahead and take him out of there. Faker goes low, Cannon Barrage on the backside. He's going to go ahead, pop a barrier.
The burn.
It's still burning him down. He will make it into the fountain safely, but that's still going to be the inhibitor going down here in favor of MVP.
Still not that much for the power of the Elder they have. Taking the inhibitors short is significant, but they would have wanted to end the game from there. The early chip damage harass onto them means they back off. Still dreams for SKT that 13,000 gold behind. There's a team fight that they win. Allows them to just run down the mid and end, but they don't have an inhibitor yet. It is a very long map for them to end in one push, and we keep going.
They want that tiny little window of double stack buffs as the Baron has just now respawned. I mean, they could take this and just challenge SKT.
I mean, it's not a fun time to fight against them.
They would have to give this up. So 45 seconds left with the 4-stack. Nobody's died. SKT going to be feeling the pressure.
Trying to be creative. Look at Alistair coming around the side. He will be spotted by a ward. Smart pings from SKT. They're not going to fall for this twice in a row.
Max going to go ahead and peel back, and they're also backing away from the Baron. You would think this is the time that they want to kind of go ahead and force up, maybe waiting for the wave to push up a little bit in the bottom lane to draw some pressure away. But MVP kind of just wasting the remainder of this buff as it comes through. Massive burst. Max and ADD probably don't want to be stacked on top of each other.
Oh wow, it still does proc the Sterix Gauge. That's down for this fight. Freebie for the side of SKT. Minions only now going to start threatening the base, but that will force Tal to recall soon. He has a combat summon. He's taking the exhaust, hoping there'll be a 5v5, but can always swap to the teleport and try to clear these minions.
I'm going to have to go back here. MVP wanting to clear out these wards. That barrel's already prepped. They will go ahead and engage. TP just now swapped to. Faker going low over the wall. Goes Max, tries to lock up Blank. That's going to be the smite coming through, plus the Ren for MVP. Another Baron going over to them.
Yeah, they didn't want... It was not to engage, so that was purely disengaged from Max. Knew his role, very well done.
Yep.
Flash down means a little bit less threat, but they do have the Cluster ultimate still.
Also have the wave pushing up here on the top side, but in the turret, we'll see if they want to back or if they're just going to keep pushing with this one. At this point, I think shopping is pretty much a non-factor for everybody on MVP.
Yeah, everyone's full health, full mana, so shopping is optional.
Yeah, other than Max, who's just sitting on that Glacial Shroud still. Here we
Pushing
go.
Here. They can also turn this into the mid lane and take that inhibitor that's already down.
All the Forge God comes through. Beyond has already leapt away. ADD takes a little bit of poke damage, but the oranges, again, are healing him up plenty.
Crucially for SK Telecom, the barrels are not hitting because he's been 6 items with no boots for a long while now. MVP not setting up the minion wave in mid lane while they do this means they don't even take down the inhibitor. As the Sun turret goes down, SKT kind of getting away with highway robbery right now. We're waiting for MVP to actually make the big engage.
I mean, clearly this is the product of MVP saying like, oh, we haven't been this far into a game in quite some time. AD taking a nice chunk. Max popping the ultimate. Breakable Will. Trying to charge forward, trying to find an opening, and Faker gets jumped on. Barrage comes down. He'll flash to the side. And the inhibitor will fall yet again here in the mid lane. Now, MVP looking to put that final nail into the coffin. Max goes forward. First turret has been eliminated. Faker rejoining the fight. Gets a massive hit onto ADD, but the shielding comes through. Sterix Gauge popped yet again. And all the members of SKT have to go running to the hills. Faker goes gold with the Zhonya's Hourglass, trying to keep himself alive and in the fight. But he's just too damn low. He'll get spat out, goes back to the fountain. And MVP, they have done it! Not only do they break the losing streak, they go to Game 3 versus SK Telecom T1, and they defeat them in a match for the first time since they have joined the LCK. And SKT, they're not 10th place yet. MVP still occupies that spot, but they are sinking lower and lower.
A single game win over SKT would have been enough for a lot of MVP fans. Actually winning the match, actually in the late game of a Game 3 that they never got to before today in 2018, they're able to make the smarter moves, to abuse SKT's problems in the jungle. It was largely Blank that put SKT so far behind in terms of presence in the early to mid game and close it out. Went to Pilot also, coming in Game 3, holding his head after a struggling season so far, and the question marks for SK Telecom T1 will not end. The fans will not stop. They will not abate because this is not the SK Telecom T1 they know. And now we still don't know who that roster is, Achilles. They need someone desperately in the jungle. Clearly it's getting to Blank. No one wants to pile on. No one wants to cause any psychological breaks or don't give criticism where criticism isn't really justified. It's justified here.
Yep.
They lost to a team that was looking like they could go 0-18 in the first round robin. They lost to a team with so many members who were in the World Championship final a few months ago.
And right now, I mean, one of the strangest things that you could think of is that SKT continuing this form means that we would see SK Telecom in the promotion tournament, fighting to retain their spot in the LCK.
I was not willing to write off SK Telecom for this series in particular because it seemed irresponsible. They are still SKT. They still do have the best player to ever play the game, and yet MVP won. When it comes to your query, my first gut reaction is absolutely not. My second gut reaction is, what if? The fact that I'm even considering that lets you know that SKT have a lot to work on.
Yep.
SKT first looked fallible in summer of last year, then righted the ship and made it to the final. We're early in the season still. We have not been able to write the story, but the first chapter is terrible for SK Telecom T1.
Yeah, I'm not writing them off myself. They always have that X factor about them, the first team to make the run through the wild card spot all the way into the final. They always have that potential, but this is definitely the scariest it's ever been for SK Telecom fans watching from back home and from those watching here in the studio who are already piling out, upset to see that their team has suffered yet another loss, this time at the hands of MVP. Absolutely shocking.
SKT fans only know winning. A lot of the fans joined after 2014, from the 2015 LCK era onwards. It really was only winning. Meant a lot for them to lose that world final, to lose the summer final, and also to lose the telecom war. But the losses get more and more heartbreaking. Faker did 50,000 damage, didn't matter. 45,000 damage from Ezreal, it didn't matter. MVP played the map better, and crucially, Blank really did not have any sort of an influence on any of the games of this series.
I mean, he nearly got out-damaged by Max on the Alistar. 90 is the only difference there, which is a series of auto-attacks from being bested by a cow. So, really, really rough series here from Blank. He is probably going to have the longest VOD review session with Coma moving forward as they look to their next game. But again, we have to crown another MVP for MVP, and it's going to be beyond this time. His early kills onto Blank, completely dictating the pace of the jungle. Really well-deserved win for him. 4-3-3 at the end, 70% kill participation, and of course, his first victory.
And the greatest irony is that the last time we were querying Blank as a player, guess who was the jungler that people looked to other teams and thought they could slot into SKT very well? It was
Beyond.
actually Beyond at the end of 2016 when he had a monstrous first split in the LCK. The best friends forever stuck together. It looked like it was going to be to their major detriment in 2018. Beyond comes in so strong here, outclassing Blank. In many ways, Beyond was able to profit on Blank making a lot of initiation mistakes.
Yeah.
I can't name one Hextech ultimatum that actually was pulled off in the right fashion. They were almost all turned against them. The Infernals, the Barons, all those things counted against the late game Hextech ultimatums. You can excuse those, but the early ones that gave Infernals, that gave objectives to the side of SKT, those are the ones you have to query.
I mean, it's a highlight reel for Beyond winning MVP, but it's also just an embarrassment reel here for Blank, because he is at the start. He's a part of every single one of these clips doing something that you would consider to be ill-advised.
Whenever SKT play another best of three, there'll be one at the end of this week, who will come in and still expect them to right the ship. It's not today. Blank can still be the closer from summer season. He can still find form. He did not show it today.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I wasn't expecting this at the start of the day, but we're going to throw over to an interview with two players from MVP as they take their series. So let's go ahead and throw it over to Joel for the translation.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your last interview translation of today. We are here with MVP with a lot of cheers coming for the crowd who have been waiting for this first win series of the season. And it's against probably the least expected team. It is against SK Telecom. They pick up the 2-1 victory. And in the end, we're going to see Max and Beyond have their interview for their victory.
네네. 자 그러면 승리한 소감. 정말 오랜만에
How does it feel to get a win? Because you haven't been in this interview spot for a while.
저희가 하도 오랜만에 이겨서 인터뷰 자리가
I don't know how to do an interview anymore because it's been so long that I've actually won a game.
이겨서 인터뷰 계속 해보도록 하겠습니다.
But I'll try to keep doing what I'm best at and hopefully get on more interviews later.
같은 얘기지만 어쨌든 오늘 경기 있기 전까지 승리가 없었고
And you did say, you know, you haven't won in a while, seemingly not having one win from the beginning of the split until now.
제가 연습 때랑 경기장 올 때랑 경기장에서 게임을 이제 할 때랑
I think the
좀 특히
kind of the mindset really changes from when I practice and from when I get to the stadium, and it's just really about my coaches really trying to tell me to calm down a little and just relax a little bit, and it hasn't worked till now. And I think with this result today, I think I'll be able to do that a little bit better.
또안할 수가 없는데 탐켄치로
And let's talk about the picks a little bit. With the Tom catch, you did get game 1
일단 제가
MVP.
연습 경기 때 캔치를 가져가면은 그 게임은 이길 정도로
I mean, practice games really prove for themselves. Like, any time that I can grab a hold of the Tom Kench, I barely ever lose with that champion. So it's a champion that I feel comfortable with, and I knew I was going to have a good chance to win with that one.
나서스 나오고 위협적이라고 생각.
And did you not ever feel those kind of unexpected picks like Nasus could have been a danger for you guys?
나서스 나올 거를 저희는 예측을 하고 있었어서
We actually expected Nasus to come up with the composition that we had and the composition they were kind of forming for themselves.
지나면 내가 알아서 잘할게.
But it's for a thing that, you know, ADD said, you know, as long as you guys hold your own, I'll be holding my own against Nasus, and he definitely kept his promise on that one.
가져갔는데 사실 2세트는 초반의 분위기에 비해서 좀 쉽지 않았어요.
And the second set was definitely not an easy game for you guys, and I'm sure that was gonna be a shocking loss after getting a good win on game 1.
잡으시니까 좀 날라는 게 좀 느껴지더라고요.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, you know,
조이 같은 게 주면은
the opponents getting the champions they wanted really got them on a power level that we couldn't handle.
그리고 또 굉장히 인상적이었던 게 오늘 비욘드 선수가 정글 쪽의 어떤 주도권이라든지.
And we also felt like the jungle domination that you showed beyond against the opponent jungler was definitely a big thing, and it seems like your teammate helped out in that cause as well.
순간적인 판단으로 인한 게 좀 더 많고.
I feel like it was more instinctive more than anything. It wasn't pre-prepared to talk about you know, how we should dominate the opposition jungler. It was more about, you know, we had the situation on our way and we were just trying to be instinctually be dominative towards their opposition jungler as well.
이어나가자면 비욘드 선수가 워낙 이 오브젝트에 대한 집착.
And you do really emphasize these objectives beyond as a jungler, one of the junglers in LCK, that you really don't want to miss out on objectives.
상대 정글러나 이제 라인 쪽 타이밍을 좀 이길 수 있을 만한 타이밍에.
You know, I always feel like, you know, I try to pick the correct timing and the correct time span where, you know, other junglers might be doing other camps and other laners might be too distracted on other things. And I use that kind of a short time span to get the objectives a little bit more in a sneaky way.
그래서 이제 3세트까지 넘어갔는데.
And we do move over to set 3 after that loss, and
서포터들이 진짜 바빠요.
I know that, you know, the supports on both sides have been very busy of trying to get the game rolling in their way, but how was it after get the game 2?
승패가 좀 많이 중요한 상황이어가지고
It was a really important game for us because we had this really good opportunity to get the first series win, and we felt like, you know, even after losing game 2, we knew that we had to level up and do better to get the game, winning game 3.
교체 이유는 뭐 오면 이제 감독 코치진의
Well, I mean, you're talking about blitzcrank here as well, but, you know, it's something that the coaching staff and just everything about, you know, how our teammates did well. We didn't really need that kind of special pick. We just needed to do our part, and we're happy with that. And you did get beyond MVP with Kha'Zix. And Kha'Zix Camille was the matchup this time around, but what do you see in that specific matchup between the two champions? Did you have a lot of confidence coming in? You know, whenever I do scrims with Kha'Zix, I do have a lot of confidence with that pick.
팀원들과 의견이 안 맞을 때가 조금.
But sometimes I get a little bit too confident that I don't listen to my teammates' shot calling. But you know, them picking up Camille, you know, I knew that it wasn't gonna be a top Camille, so I prepared my mind that it was gonna be the jungler picking that up. So I was feeling a little bit alright since I knew how to take on that matchup in the beginning.
되게 편안하게 게임했던 게 확실히 중요했던 것 같아요.
Yeah, definitely having a comfortable mindset was important for you guys. But in game 3, we didn't know near the end of how close it actually had become. Near the end, we didn't know who's gonna win.
딱 박았을 때 바로 앞에서 그때 이겼다고 생각했어요.
I think when we got that skill shot in around the Baron pit and we got the good cutoff of their opponents, that's kind of the moment that Zoe went down and the opposition team went down as a whole.
그런 경우가 나온 것 같습니다. 또 MVP 팀이 뭐 경기도 경기지만
We're talking about Team MVP here, but
승리에서
after getting a win,
이 세트당 뭐 킬 숫자에 따라서
we talk about the different records and different stats.
그동안 기분을 못했어요.
How has it been, you know, not getting the kills, not getting the victories?
못했었는데 오늘 드디어 이제
And now you do get a victory today, and it really is all a turnaround of every situation that you've been through this whole time.
저희가 장난삼아 그런 얘기를 한 적 있어요. 너희 막 우리가 기부하기 싫어가지고 막 그러는 거 아니냐.
You know, we were just joking to each other that you guys are just angels giving off the wins to our opposition teams and giving off kills and just making the other team feel great. And we were kind of joking around with that, but at the same time, we kept in our minds that a victory was very much needed, and we're really glad that we got it today.
겹친 것 같은데 MVP 팀이 또 팬이 엄청 많이 오셨어요.
And we do have a lot of fans cheering on for TMP. You heard from the cheers whenever you guys did get that victory. Anything you'd like to say to them on the stage here?
일단 직접 경기 보러 오주신 분들이나
We always thank you for the people that actually come to the stadium to watch the games, and even for the people who watch us at home on the screen. But you know, our performances haven't been great, obviously, but and we always tell you that, you know, that we're gonna do better, and we always meant it every time. And we're gonna say it again, we're gonna do better so that we can keep our records on a positive note, and we just continue to continue to ask you to support us.
이번 시즌 각오 마지막으로
Any last determination going into the rest of the season?
총 감독님 그 최윤상 총 감독님께서 저희들에게 이제 5패는 충분히 했고 13승 5패 해보자.
Our coaching staff said, you know,
12승 남았습니다.
there's only we've lost enough now, and he told us everything else should be a win, and that is seemingly the last words coming for MVP, and that will be the end of the interview for a very feel-good team MVP picking up a 2-1 victory against SK Telecom. We're gonna throw it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel, for the translation. And yeah, man, what a day. These guys have a good reason to celebrate here tonight, but I'm sure that they're still just going to go back, watch the VOD, and then get prepping for their future matches, because there's still a very long way to climb if MVP wants to get out of the hole that they've dug for themselves.
But at least MVP gets a night. Remember, they don't play again this week. They've already got through their week 3 matches, and they were able to pick up a game and then a match victory in impressive fashion. They were deserved winners over SKT. SK Telecom only game score above last place on the ladder, now find themselves pretty significantly far behind. 8th place Rocks Tigers, and with a schedule that, you know, if you lose to MVP, every other piece of opposition going to be even trickier to deal with.
It's hard to say now who SKT can realistically beat, given that, but coming up next on Saturday, Papa Smithy and I will be bringing you the next matches here. Kingzone Dragon X versus Kongdu Monster, and KSV versus BBQ Olivers. Both of them have some pretty clear one-sided, teams that you would think would walk away with it, but Kongdu Monster and BBQ both have some chances for some upsets.
And both those teams on the down. Remember, Kongdu and also BBQ lost their last series, so is it going to be them tending towards the middle to bottom? Is it going to be KSV and Kingzone tending towards the top? Very easy to predict one way, but any sort of wrinkles in that, just like the wrinkles we got in our second series, would both diminish title challenge hopes, but also diminish the playoff hopes for the teams on the right side.
Well, I know that I'm just excited because I'm finally going to be casting BBQ, which means I finally get that free chicken. So Papa Smithy and I will be back right here on Saturday, same time, same place, same stream. We'll see you guys then. Have a good night.